What's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing a discussion about the 4 different Gokus in Dragon Ball FighterZ. So we got Goku, Super Saiyan, Goku Black, Goku Blue, and then base form Goku. And we're going to be discussing which one is the strongest, which one is the weakest, what are the pros and cons, and kind of how should you decide which one you're going to put on your team and where. So I did a little poll on my Twitter because I was curious what the people out there thought about this. So for the poll of which one is the strongest, you can see it's very, very close. Super Saiyan Goku and Goku Black were within probably 10 votes of each other, I would wager, by the number of votes. Base form got 10% of the vote, and clearly no one thought Blue was the best. And then for the poll of who do I think is the worst Goku, Goku Blue kind of ran away with it, although base form Goku got 19%. That's not nothing, but most people seem to think Goku Blue is the worst. So we're going to talk about it. Why is one Goku better than the other? What are the different advantages that they have over each other? So I think most people can generally agree that there's kind of 2 tiers of the Gokus here. There's the 2 Gokus who are on the better side, being Super Saiyan Goku and Goku Black. I think most people would agree that these 2 are the better Gokus. They're all around just kind of better, and they have some of the best assists in the game, so they're pretty easy to put on teams. And then you have the less good Gokus. We've got Goku Blue and base form Goku, and I think we're going to talk about those guys first. Let's talk about what makes them less good and how good they are and whether you should consider putting them on their team. So to start off, I guess we'll talk about Goku Blue. So Goku Blue, I would say his pros, he's got some good ones. He's the only Goku with a low-hitting downlight. So if the opponent is stand blocking, they will get hit by his downlight, which is not the case for any of the other Gokus. All their other downlights can be blocked standing, but not Goku Blue. So that's actually a pretty big advantage. The reason for this is, you can do situations where the opponent has to guess high-low, and it can actually be really hard to deal with. And most of the true unblockable 50-50s, like unblockable on reaction, involve a low-hitting downlight. So what I mean by that is a lot of 50-50s are reactable, meaning like the 50-50 of am I going to do this overhead or am I going to do this low? The overhead is slow enough that a skilled player, especially if they've practiced against it in training mode, they can react to this on reaction. So even though it is a 50-50, 50-50 meaning you have a 50% chance of blocking right if you guess high or low. Even though it is a 50-50, it is reactable. And most 50-50s in the game are like this, except, again, like I said, for ones involving a low-hitting downlight, because this is so fast. Obviously, there's no way you're going to react to this. So the difference between something like this, 2 overheads into a low, and something like this, 1 overhead into a low, there's almost no difference, so it's very, very hard to react to. So all those words being said, having this downlight is a really huge deal, and it's nice that he has it. Another big strength, I would say, is high damage. Goku Blue is one of the more high-damaging Gokus. Because of this dive kick type move, he can get a lot of damage using Vanish, like that. So 1 meter for like over 50% and a hard knockdown, well, a sliding knockdown, pretty good. And speaking of sliding knockdown, I would say that that's another advantage that off of stray hits, some characters struggle to get a sliding knockdown, but Goku Blue pretty much always can because of that EX dive kick. So if you get some random hit and you vanish, you don't really have to worry about what you're going to do after this because you can always go into that sliding knockdown. And in case you guys are unfamiliar with why sliding knockdowns are good, the basic idea is that if you can't do a sliding knockdown, if you do something like this, the opponent pops up and you don't really have time to prepare any sort of mix-ups afterward. Like if you do something like this, it's really hard for me to go get him afterwards. Like, in general, you can't really do super good mix-ups if you can't get the sliding knockdown, whereas a sliding knockdown, especially in the corner, you can do actually really good stuff where You can call assists, you can cover the different ways that they can get up off the ground, and you can set up a mix-up. And because of this low-hitting down light, the mix-ups that he gets after the sliding knockdown are actually pretty potent. But let's talk about his cons. So I would say his biggest con is his awkward neutral, or I kind of want to call it, he has very honest neutral, if that makes sense. Some characters, they just have stuff that they can lean on in neutral. So for example, Super Saiyan Goku, his beam is generally pretty safe, and you can do it on the ground or the air. This is something that you can abuse a little bit in neutral, and then whenever it hits, you get the vanish into a combo. Super Saiyan Goku Blue does not have this. He doesn't have a beam. So you kind of have to play honest to get in. He doesn't have anything that he can just kind of throw around. Or like Goku Black, you know, he's got this down heavy. It reaches like halfway across the screen. And even if the opponent blocks it, you can start using this to, you know, go into this, call an assist, and then get your pressure going. So he can lean on his down heavy and neutral. And the same with like God Slicer. This move is so big, and whenever the opponent blocks it, you can call an assist and get going. So those are like crutches that you can lean on during neutral. But Goku Blue doesn't really have anything like that. He doesn't have any huge, massive hitboxes that he can throw around that are like that safe, really. Most of his stuff can be down heavied on reaction, so stuff like this teleport, it can be down heavied on reaction, which is not what you want. Like that, so really not something that you want to see. So that's his biggest weakness. I also think that his assist is another weakness. His assist is very mediocre. You really can't use it for like covering screen space because it doesn't really do what you want. It doesn't like hold them still like a good assist, and a lot of times it's just gonna miss the opponent. So really the only thing that his assist is that good for is for ending combos. For characters who struggle to get sliding knockdowns in their combos, he can actually enable that. So that's like something, but for the most part, his assist is very situational. He's pretty much like a point character only, in my opinion, or at least that's where he's strongest. So a highly situational assist that you can't use in that many circumstances. And also, another one of his big weaknesses is that most of his like built-in mix-ups, so stuff like I was talking about with the overhead versus low, or also his cross-up teleport, or also his command throw. So the problem that all of these have in common is that they're pretty reactable. So they're all slow enough that if the opponent is skilled and if the opponent has practice reacting to them, they're generally going to be able to get out of them. And in the case of something like his teleport, obviously it's very unsafe because of the possibility of getting down heavied. So doing this against a good opponent can kind of be a death sentence. So really his only super tight mix-ups, like I said, come off of the down light. So that's a lot of his kit that clearly like they wanted him to use these things. They wanted him to use his command throw, his teleport, stuff like that. But they just end up being a little bit too risky because of how slow they are. Those are his big strengths and weaknesses. Let's talk about his counterpart here, Base Form Goku. So Base Form Goku, he does have one big thing that Blue Goku does not. It's a beam. It's not as good as Super Saiyan and Goku Black's beams because it is only one hit, which means that it's harder to hit confirm off it. You don't have those extra hits to notice, like, okay, it hit, I'm gonna vanish. You kind of have to vanish preemptively. But still, it's really nice, especially having an air beam. Something I'll probably talk about more later in the video is that a lot of times characters want to do this. You've probably run across people doing stuff like this in your own matches. And the reason people are doing this is they're trying to catch you throwing a ground beam, or they might do it closer to kind of catch you trying to down heavy them. They might bait a down heavy and then they can vanish. Or they might be just kind of running away trying to get their assists back if their assists are on cooldown. So it's really nice to have a move that can hit people when they're up in the air doing that kind of thing. And a lot of characters cannot do that. For example, like Goku Blue, he can't really do that. Like, all he can do really is like teleport, try to hit them with the teleport, but again, that's pretty unsafe. He doesn't have anything that goes like all the way across the screen. His ki blasts go downward. He doesn't have an air beam, anything like that. So, and obviously this doesn't go far enough. But Base Goku, he can hit you all the way across the screen with the beam. You can vanish off the beam. All kinds of good stuff. So it's nice having the beam for sure. Another big advantage is his supers are actually really good. So we've got the Spirit Bomb, obviously one of the most damaging supers in the game. I think it might actually be the most damaging super in the game. As you can see, it does a ton. It can be a little bit hard to combo into. Like, you can use the charged up Spirit Bomb, his basically the special move version of the Spirit Bomb. You can use that, but it can be a little tricky to get the charge on that because you need the level 3 version to land his level 3 super. But still, it's worth noting. And also, the Spirit Bomb, you can also use it to punish people super dashing. So if someone's super dashing at you like this, you can throw the Spirit Bomb and hit them out of it. And it's just a ton of raw damage. So if you have 3 meters, the risk is kind of always there that the opponent has to be a little bit careful because they might get Spirit Bombed. But also, his Kaioken is no joke either. Obviously, it gets stronger the more characters you have dead. And if 2 characters are dead, this becomes a very, very damaging level 1 super. It also has the ability to punish the opponent from full screen because of that little beam starter. So this super is no joke. Don't sleep on the Kaioken. It can become very good. Obviously, you can also use it for kind of weird mix-ups, like, you know, Kaioken and then go behind them, or go for a throw or something. But these are a little bit risky. If the opponent is free to kind of do whatever while you do Kaioken, they can reflect, they can vanish, they can just raw super you. So you do have to be a little bit careful, but again, this is a very good super, and always having the threat of the powerful Kaioken is something that will keep the opponent on their toes. So another advantage that he has is his corner loops. So base Goku has some pretty nifty loops that you can do in the corner. So he can combo off of that elbow, and it's possible to get multiple reps, but it's pretty hard. Like that, but I don't know if I'm skilled enough to actually combo off that. But anyway, even off of 1 rep, this will give you a lot of damage. So he's also got his auto combo loop, which again, this only works in the corner. And this one is actually pretty tricky depending on characters. Against small hitbox characters, like Goku, the timing can actually be really tough. You might not be able to get it to work. Let's see if I can get a couple reps here. Something like that. So you can use that to get good damage as well. But the problem with both of these is that they require a very clean hit. Like, as you can see, I can only start those really with down medium. And a lot of times with base Goku, you know, you're going to be getting weird hits like Kamehameha into Vanish, or like a shoulder charge into Vanish, stuff like that. Or like air to air. If you catch the opponent air to air, you can't really do these loops. The only thing you can do is go into a launcher. But still, they are there, and they do offer some very, very high damage in the right situation. But kind of transitioning into his cons here, I do think his poor damage off of stray hits is a pretty big deal. So unlike Goku Blue, he cannot get a hard knockdown at all in a situation like this. So if he lands a Vanish, literally, he has no way to get a sliding knockdown or to get a super unless you kind of just go straight into the super. You know, you can do something like this, but obviously the damage isn't amazing. It's fine, but it's not amazing, and then you don't really get a good mix-up off of it. So off of stray hits, he definitely struggles. That applies too to like his command throw. This seems like this move should be a pretty decent mix-up, but the problem is you just don't really get anything off it. Now, of course, if you do have the Spirit Bomb charged, you can always do that off of a Vanish. So that's pretty good. But again, he can't end this in super, he can't end it in a sliding knockdown, so unless you're going to kill the opponent, it can be hard to keep the pressure going after a combo like that. Also, I do believe that one of his cons is that the Spirit Bomb is a little bit hard to charge. Like, you can get level 1 pretty easily, because you can just pop out the level 1 kind of whenever you want, pretty quickly. But then the problem is you can't build on that charge. You can only throw the Spirit Bomb out. If you could build it one level at a time so that you could get to level 3 slowly, that would be really nice. It would make it a lot more consistent to land his Spirit Bomb super. But as it is, really the only time you're going to be getting this full charge is if you have something like Vegeta Assist. And even then, you're kind of giving up pressure in exchange for charging his level 3. I mean, Beam Assist and stuff, they can work as well. But yeah, sometimes it's not worth it to sacrifice a knockdown pressure in exchange for charging this super, because you're kind of trading a guaranteed mix-up situation for something that's not guaranteed. You don't know that you're going to land this Spirit Bomb for the rest of the match. And you might get desperate and have to just like throw it randomly, and then you've wasted it. You're going to have to get lucky enough to get another opportunity to force the opponent to block and charge it up. So it can be done, I just don't think it's that optimal. So I think the difficulty of charging his special Spirit Bomb is definitely another problem. And then, as I mentioned before, he does not have a low-hitting down light. So his mix-ups are going to be a little bit tricky. He relies a lot on assists for mix-ups. Generally, you're going to have to be doing stuff like his command throw or like frame trapping with this. But then what do you get off it? You don't get very much damage because you can't go into a sliding knockdown or into super. So unless you have this level 3 Spirit Bomb charged up, you're not really going to get good damage off of these situations. All that being said, let's talk about who's worse. Is it going to be Base Goku or Goku Blue? So I think that I'm actually going to agree with the poll on this one. I think that Goku Blue is a little bit worse just because of his difficult neutral. Even though Base Goku, it can be hard to get good damage and get hard knockdowns or sliding knockdowns, at least, you know, he has this beam. So Goku Blue's neutral, I think, is a fair bit worse, and so I'm going to say that he's the worst character. But not by that much. I think they're both below average characters. Unfortunately, I really wanted to love Base Goku, but I just think that his lack of sliding knockdowns and his lack of big damage off of stray hits really does hurt him a lot. And also, his mix-ups aren't anything incredible because of his lack of a low-hitting down light. But anyway, I've talked a lot about these guys. Let's move on and talk about the quote-unquote good Gokus here. So we've got Super Saiyan Goku and Goku Black. Which one is better between these two? So this, I think, it's very, very close. I think an argument could be made for either of them. But let's talk about their pros and cons first. So they're very, very similar, obviously. Goku Black has some big important things that Super Saiyan Goku doesn't. He's got this down heavy. He's got the down heavy of the gods. This thing is a pretty big deal, because obviously if it hits, you go into a combo, but even if it doesn't hit, you know, you can go into a beam, you can go into this teleport, I guess, although that can be risky because of the threat of down heavy, but you can always bait that. You can go into this command throw, all this stuff, you know, go into this and then call an assist, and all of a sudden you have pressure going, all off of this down heavy. So this move's really important. It's one of the biggest things that Goku Black has going for him that Super Saiyan Goku doesn't. God Slicer's pretty good too. You can use this like when you have the opponent knocked down. Just go for God Slicer plus assist, and then voila, free pressure. So that move is pretty nice too. Goku Black does not have the problem I talked about with Base Goku, where he struggles to convert off of stray hits. Because similar to Goku Blue, you know, if you get any stray hit, just go into the EX God Slicer, and voila, you have that sliding knockdown. You can start going for mix-ups. So that's pretty nice. And also, Goku Black having air supers, all of his supers can be done in the air, which is nice. You don't really have to worry about taking the opponent down to the ground for a sliding knockdown in order to do his supers, which actually can pay off in a lot of situations. And his level 3 is very, very good for this. You get a really sick chance to mix them up when they're waking up after this level 3. So generally, whenever Goku Black gets a hit, it's gonna hurt, he's gonna make you pay, and he's gonna be able to go into a hard knockdown to keep it going if you're not already dead. And as for cons for Goku Black, he kind of has a similar con to Goku Blue, where a lot of his mix-ups are reactable. In fact, pretty much all of his mix-ups are reactable. So stuff like the command throw, that's reactable. Stuff like this teleport, That's reactable. Like the cross up with the teleport, that's reactable. And because he doesn't have a low hitting down light, it's kind of going to limit your mix-up options. Obviously, Super Saiyan Goku doesn't have a down hitting down light either. He has the same issue. He doesn't really have any unreactable mix-ups. For the most part, you're going to require an assist to set up stuff like this to go for mix-ups, or to set up a throw or something like that. But I'm just pointing this out for the sake of people in the comments aren't saying, well, why don't you talk about the fact that Goku Black has a command throw? That's better than Super Saiyan Goku. Well, it is, like, it's nice to have, but it's not as huge as you might think it is, because a skilled player, a top level player, the kind of people who are in tournaments, very rarely will they get hit by this attack because the startup is so long. And if they see it coming, they can punish it by jumping over you and then hitting you on the back. So it becomes kind of risky. So next up, let's talk about Super Saiyan Goku. So what does he have to make up for the lack of the down heavy of the gods? Obviously, his down heavy is a lot worse. But he does have some stuff. So I think the biggest thing is that he can beam in the air. That's actually a really huge deal. It might not seem that important, but it really is, you know. For situations where I was talking about where the opponent is kind of running away trying to recharge their assists, or if they're doing stuff like this to, you know, bait you into doing a down heavy and trying to punish you for it, Super Saiyan Goku can just beam them. It's awesome. It's really, really good to have this. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but Goku Black does not have an air beam. He can only throw ki blasts in the air. Like, he can do this, but it's not really the same because these ki blasts do get beaten by stuff like down heavy. So yeah, the air beam is actually a really huge deal. And going along with that, Goku Super Saiyan, he's one of the few characters in the game that can get a hard knockdown, a sliding knockdown I should say, meterless. So Goku Blue and Goku Black, they require 1 meter to get a sliding knockdown in any situation. Obviously, most characters, including all the Gokus, they can get a sliding knockdown if they land a launcher. They don't need meter for that, but off of something like a vanish, most of them require meter, but Super Saiyan Goku doesn't. You can see he can always get the sliding knockdown, even for no meter. Super Saiyan Goku can also do double super, so most characters can't do this, but if you're in a situation like this, you can do one super straight into the other super. And then you can Z-change off of this too. So what this means, a big thing is that, like, generally, doing a double Z-change is going to do more damage than doing a level 3 super. But if you only have 2 characters left, you can't double Z-change. But Super Saiyan Goku can kind of do kind of a fake version of a double Z-change by doing 2 level 1s by himself. And then we bring in the other character afterwards. So in a situation where one of your characters is dead, which you're actually going to run into a lot, because most of the time you're not going to be running Super Saiyan Goku on point. You're going to run him second or third because you want to take advantage of the beam assist. In situations like that, he can get more damage than Goku Black, which does matter. There are situations where literally the only way you're going to kill is by doing double super into Z-change. So it does matter. So with all that being said, who is the stronger of the 2 good Gokus, Super Saiyan Goku or Goku Black? The cop-out answer would be, you know, neither one is stronger. It's whichever one you prefer. I do kind of believe that to a degree. I think that if you prefer Goku Black, you should not feel bad about using him. The same for if you prefer Super Saiyan Goku, feel free to use them. I think they're both very good characters. You will not be disappointed. But since I have to pick an answer here, I'm going to say Super Saiyan Goku is better. I think the biggest thing is this air beam. You really can't underestimate how good the air beam is. Like, it's such an important thing to have in your toolkit, and Goku Black just doesn't have that capability, you know? Goku Super Saiyan, I'm going to say a slight edge over Goku Black. Very, very slight. But I would say that if you're a new player, I think Goku Black might be a better choice. I think, obviously, in online, especially at the lower ranks, you know, people are going to get hit by his command throw all day. People are going to get hit by, you know, the cross-up teleport. People are going to get hit by this all day. So you might have more success online playing Goku Black. Plus, God Slicer is so ridiculous. You can just do this move all the time. And since people are just super dashing so constantly at low ranks online, you know, the 2H of the gods becomes like a really good move. So I think maybe for new players, Goku Black is better. But I think at the highest level where stuff like the command throw are not that good, they are a little bit risky, I think Super Saiyan Goku does become better because his neutral is just a little bit better. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. You think I'm way off? You think Goku Black is the god? Let me know. Or maybe do you think base Goku is the god? There were some people in my poll defending base Goku, saying that he's better than either of these two. I personally don't see it, but I'm open to hearing your arguments down below. So I know this was a really long video, guys, but I appreciate you for sticking with it. I hope you enjoyed. So be sure to click either of the links here on screen to see other content from me. Click the link to become a subscriber, or you can click the Patreon link to go to my Patreon and help support the channel. It really helps me keep making these videos, and I appreciate everyone out there who is a patron. So that's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.